Welcome to the Pain-Free Athlete Podcast. I'm your host, Dana Jones. I am a certified personal trainer, and I'm here to help you achieve your fitness goals without pain. In each episode, I'll share tips and strategies that will help you stay safe and pain-free while you're working out. I'll also interview experts in the field of fitness and pain management. So if you're ready to learn how to stay active and pain-free, then subscribe to the Pain-Free Athlete Podcast today. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Pain-Free Athlete Podcast. I'm your host, Dana Jones, and today I am joined by Kelly McKenzie. Kelly is a performance physiologist at Human Powered Health, where she helps individuals at every stage of their fitness journey, from beginners to elite athletes, gain a deeper understanding of their physiology and receive practical guidance to improve their health and performance. Before joining Human Powered Health, Kelly worked as a weightlifting coach at a private facility and spent several years as a collegiate athletic performance coach at institutions like University of Minnesota, University of Kansas, Kentucky Wesleyan College, where she utilized force plates and wearable tracking technology to enhance athlete development. Kelly, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
You've done a lot of stuff.
I've done a lot of stuff, yeah. It's all been
cool.
so interesting. And it's just been great.
It's all different. And you were also like a track athlete?
I ran track at Eau Claire, so D3, but yeah, it was
whatever.
it was great.
There's no shame. You were a college
No,
athlete.
absolutely not. That's
Yes.
the best part about track is there's no real skill, right? So like a time is a time and a jump is a jump. So you can compete at any level and you can still compete. So
yeah, I kind of disagree with you. I think there has to be a skill.
No. Unless you're throwing or hurdling or jumping,
Well, yeah,
all the things.
But I think you have to have, like, I don't know, maybe it's just the God-given genetics to be able to run.
Yeah, that top end speed, acceleration, totally.
Yes, kind of nuts. I know. So, all right, we got a little bit into who are you and, like, why did you choose fitness, and, what does that have to do with why you're here?
Yeah, totally. So I get just background. My background is in strength and conditioning. But my undergrad, I was initially pre-physical therapy because I had spinal fusion when I was 17. So I'm fused from my T2 to my L1. So almost my entire thoracic spine is just metal. And like I thought pre-physical therapy, like I'm gonna help people through like what I went through. And then in my undergrad, you had to either go clinical and sit in a PT building and just watch, or you could go hands-on and do strength and conditioning. I'm like, I'm gonna go hands-on. Way more fun. And I loved it. Fell in love with the idea of helping really build people up and helping prevent these injuries. Turns out strength and conditioning, you do a lot of rehab anyways, because no one has a perfect track record. Everyone has something. And so, yeah, just kind of fell in love with the idea of athletes and building and how can we facilitate performance at the highest level. And that's really transitioned again, like where I'm at in my life. I just had my second kid. And like women in general, like have a lot going on. And it's just fascinating, like how things can dramatically change from like one year to the next. And just, yeah, it's just fascinating, really.
Bodies are pretty complex, and especially after the childbearing years, I've noticed. And
Totally.
I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were talking about the minute we get pregnant, a hormone gets released that kind of loosens up our ligaments.
And
And
you
so,
can still have that in your system when you're breastfeeding. So like all
really,
these women that are like, I'm trying to get back to my old body. Like if you're breastfeeding, your body's not going back. It's not
right.
like it still has that elasticity. So your strength is just going to come much harder.
Well, and you got to be careful, right? Because we
100%.
already are at, and you and I were chatting a little bit about ACL injuries, and there was a recent study that came out that talked about how women are prone to ACL, especially when we're cycling, meaning
Yes.
period cycling, not
Totally. Not
bicycling.
biking.
Hiking. But part of me is like, okay, whatever. Because I always think of like the reverse idea of it. Like, are you trying to stop us from performing sports during our cycles? And is this your way of eventually like squashing us completely out of women's sports?
Let's hope
Or
not.
are you refusing to acknowledge like our angles are different from men and we are going to be prone to certain injuries and we're just going to have to find different exercises to enhance our strength in different ways than men?
Yeah. Well, and really, if you think of strength and conditioning, like it's nuts and bolts, you have cycles, right? Like you peak and you train really hard for X amount of time, and then you got to deload and recover, and then you peak and try to train really hard. Like you kind of go through this undulating swing of a cycle to let your body build and recover. So why wouldn't you pair that to what your body is already doing? Like, yes, like you're like, oh, like I'm gonna power through and like ignore what my body's doing. Or we just enhance it and really listen to what our body's doing so we can build at the right times and then recover when we need to.
Which is okay, except for, like, I was thinking about triathlon, races never
Never.
if I try to,
Knife.
because who wants a race when you're have your cycle? And
Though I'll say I've had my period at big weightlifting comps, and I almost always have my best day then. Like like
really?
mentally, you're like, man, I feel awful, but if you can just like get back into your rhythm of like, okay, like this is my bar, this is my pattern, and this is what I'm warming up, and this is my timing. Like you kind of hone in, your body will just do fascinating things sometimes. Like I've had some really big lifts on days that I probably shouldn't have. So
So when did you get into that?
weightlifting,
Yes.
I started weightlifting competitively in 2015. So
How's that?
great.
Does that feel I mean, because I do see a lot of athletes kinda transition, right? We find different ways
Mm,
to kind of express ourselves athletically.
100%. Yeah, because like when you're done competing in like any phase of life, whether that's like you just finished college athletics or like, man, like really don't want to do triathlons anymore, like you still want to have some sort of a competitive edge. I think weightlifting is so fun. It's such a good community, very supportive. Everyone wants to see someone lift something big or something big for each person. Like it's just
Mhm.
super fun. Like for example, I did a competition in May. So I was like 5 months postpartum, had no expectation of the day, but it's just fun to be around people. You always lift with women. And so it's just a very empowering group of people to be around.
Female
And
athletes
it's
are
great
fun.
for strength, but it's also great for your bones. So even better.
Yeah. I think female athlete like, especially and I don't think I really understood weightlifting until I had a roommate that did it, and the camaraderie, and of course, she always tells a story about trying to get into her singlet and where all these
That's
women are
amazing.
all trying to, like, stuff her in. And I'm like, "Why would you do that to
That
yourself?"
is amazing.
Because
It's
that's
so
like
true. It is such a fun group though, because like for example, one of my athletes a couple of years ago, she had the wrong tights on. USA weightlifting has like very strict rules. Like you can't wear a patterned tight underneath your singlet. And so like she did a lift and they're like, no, lift your pants. And so like she's like, "Ugh," had to like take off her pants essentially in the middle of a competition. And another girl's like, I've got pants for you. And she just like gave one of my athletes her pants. It was like, it's just it's a very empowering group of people to be around. It's awesome.
yeah, so well, and you said most of your focus is on supporting women.
Totally.
And what was that shift like? Or because I mean, you were working with all different types of people doing strength and performance. So how does that shift toward more toward women?
Yeah, I get like I just feel like women are having such a moment in like athletics, right? So like you've got really big up and comers and their names are being thrown around everywhere and people are starting to finally watch women's basketball. Like there's a pro women's volleyball league now and women's rugby just started going pro. Like all these like teams are starting to like get noticed finally, right? And I feel like that's giving women like really some empowerment of like if like women are having their moment. Let's go. Yeah. It just a lot of the women that I see coming into the lab are super empowered, but they're also like a lot of times very confused as to why their body is like being the way it is. And it's kind of like a puzzle. Like I love trying to solve the puzzle. Like let me help you solve your puzzle. And it's just awesome.
So what are some of the challenges that they're facing that
Yeah,
or even the industry is facing? I mean, because we are seeing that
totally.
change.
I would say a lot of women that and I don't can't like be like it's because of perimenopause or menopause. A lot of women are coming in and they're saying like, "Oh, the training that I've been doing my whole life is no longer working." Or I've gained 10 pounds and I can't get rid of it anymore. And it's like my body wasn't like this. Or they wake up and they're like, "Man, my joints hurt all of a sudden and something has changed." Like, why? So I love essentially helping them kind of figure out what their body's telling them and how to improve.
That's awesome. So if I come into human powered health and I
Come
get
on in.
you,
Come on in.
what are we working on?
I mean, it really depends on your goals, right? Like, what are your goals? Tell me about it.
Okay, so I am a menopausal woman
Yeah.
and I would like to be strong, and I would, probably the saddest goal, well, not the saddest goal, but
No,
it's,
no.
looking down the line is like be able to get up off the ground and or play with my grandkids, right?
Totally.
That's like basic baseline goal.
But, like, that's a deep goal. Like, that's gonna
Yes.
resonate with you for a really long time. Like, if you suddenly can't get on the ground and get up to go chase your grandkid around, like, that's a problem, right?
Yeah.
And
I wanna be a
again, like,
badass granny.
dude, for sure, obviously. I'm young, but, like, that's my goals. Like, I am doing everything now so that I can do things later. And again, like, I feel like doctors like Peter Attia are such hot topics right now for this lifelong, like, longevity goal, right? I would say if every single woman that's going through menopause should do a DEXA scan. And
Mhm.
that's even if you're like, maybe I'm going through menopause or I'm 30 and I feel like things are changing, right? Perimenopause can start in your 30s. And, like, you have no idea sometimes. So, DEXA scan is the gold standard for body composition,
What
but
is that? Like, what's required of us to go get a DEXA scan?
you have to have a doctor's prescription.
Mhm.
And so essentially with the lab, you would have a consult with our doctor to make sure you're approved to do a DEXA scan. Um, but it's the gold standard for bone density. So we would look at your spine and we look at your hips. Those two areas are at a higher risk for fracture if your bone density is low. So we'd like to get those nailed down, making sure everything is healthy there. And then we'll do a total body scan too.
Okay, is it like I stand in a tube and get scanned, or because I remember back in the day, they used to
Totally.
have the truck that would drive around that was the water
Ah,
truck,
yeah.
and you get in there, and then they would do your whatever scan, like, you'd float in there for whatever it was, 20 minutes, and
Yeah.
and they could
No,
go.
this is like I'd say total time on the table is like 10 minutes, but it's just like this bar of an arm. It just kind of goes from your head down to your toes.
Okay.
It's not constricting at all, not like an MRI that you're like trapped in
Yeah,
there and like this
for the
close to the
claustrophobic
tube. Yeah,
people,
no,
yeah,
it's not like
like,
that at all.
so it's not claustrophobic.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so I would do DEXA for sure, because again, we want to know where your bone density is, because essentially when your estrogen goes, your bone is directly related to your estrogen. So as soon as your estrogen starts decreasing, your bone density tends to follow suit if you're not doing things to promote bone health.
Okay.
I would do a resting metabolic, making sure calorically you know exactly what your body should be taking in. Again, for some reason, I don't know where women got this number. They're like, I'm only eating 1,200 calories a day. 1,200 is nothing.
Mhm.
Like the FDA used to say, like you need 2,000. And so I don't know where women got this number of 2,000 or 1,200 calories a day.
It went along with the deficit.
Right. And then you're already training probably 5 or 6 days a week and you're training really hard because you're trying to lose that weight. You're like really pushing it. You're probably not taking it enough. Like 9 out of 10 times you're not eating enough.
So we pay more attention to macros than calories?
I don't even focus on all the macros. I say always take in protein, at least 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, minimum. And that's a
Okay.
lot. It's like for me, I weigh 175 pounds. Like that's a lot of protein. For
Right.
someone that hasn't been taking that much protein, like that's a lot of protein. You got to work your way up to it. And I always say pair your foods. So you're never just eating protein. They're called macros for a reason. They're a very important system needed in your body, right? So eat your carbs, eat your healthy fats, get your protein, right? They're always together. And then the other assessment I would definitely recommend for literally everyone is a force plate. So force plates are like amazing. Think of them as like a rapid fire scale. And when you go to the doctor and you're supposed to stand super still, because when you shift, the number fluctuates. That's
Yes.
essentially your muscles are creating force. So that number's changing. So we move either very dynamically or isometrically on the plates, and we can see how your muscles create force and how they're able to use that force to move. And so as a physiologist, I can look at the data and be like, oh, like you're very muscle dominant, or oh, you're very tendon dominant. How do we change to improve our strength with those kind of physiological aspects to your muscle? And then we can look at, again, like the power you're producing compared to the strength you're able to produce. And again, really hone in on where those numbers should look.
Okay. So how strong should a woman be?
In my mind, and there's like no like written documentation of this. I always say a woman should be able to produce 2 times her body weight in strength.
Okay. And wait a minute, what does that mean?
Right. So it's all in newtons on these force plates, right? So your body weight, we'll say, is like 500 newtons. You should be able to produce at least 1,000 newtons of force
Okay.
into these plates.
Okay. And so then I get all that done, and then I
Get
come
all
to
that
you with
done.
my numbers.
Well, you're already with me. We're going through this thing together. You're never
Right.
alone. This is a teamwork here. So that we would sit down, go over all of the data. I would explain exactly what everything means, and I would give you the recommendations that I'm finding that would be most beneficial for you. But you would leave with all of your data. It's all on the cloud, essentially. It's a profile page, but you would have your pages of data. You would have my recommendations, and you would leave knowing exactly what you need to do.
That's pretty cool. So what are some of
So
the
fun.
patterns that you see? Like, in terms of women,
Great
like,
question.
what are the areas that we need to improve on?
Again, I would say women notoriously don't eat enough.
Okay.
Okay. Don't take in enough protein. But I would say women in general, we like to work really hard. Like a lot of us are very stubborn. You're like, I'm going to pound this hard, this workout as hard as I possibly can. And so I would say a lot of times things are too intense in the wrong way, if that makes sense. So
Hit.
I hit, yes, like, and hit is great, but we don't need all hit, right? And in my mind, as a strength coach, again, like strength is strength, cardio is cardio. Hit classes, this is going to be a bold statement. Hit classes are neither of those, right? So you're kind of
Mhm.
blending these two things, but you're not getting anything beneficial really out of them other than being in a great group setting. They're
So is hit
great.
just basically torture?
Hit is
It feels like
training,
it.
kind of, yeah. Like, and like again, I think hit high intensity interval training should be a cardiovascular training system, right? So it's over here. It doesn't belong with the weights. The weight should be your goal is to lift as much weight as possible. And I feel like, again, a lot of women are like, oh, I'm going to grab my 10-pound dumbbells and I'm going to do the exact same rep range that I've been doing for a decade. I'm doing 8 to 15 reps because that's what I've been told to do. So I don't gain a lot of muscle, right? Because I want to be lean, I want to be toned. But that's like totally the opposite as what you should do. Like in the grand scheme of periodization and programming for strength, you want to go through different phases, right? So you want to hit reps like 8 to 10 for 4 to 6 weeks, deload. And then you want to do another 4 to 6 weeks and you want to do like your 6 to 8s and then
Mhm.
take another deload and then you're going to go even lower. And that's going to be more like 3 to 5 reps. And like that intensity is missed with women so frequent, like literally all the time. Like I don't think I've met a female that's like, oh yeah, I'm in like a heavy 3 phase. Like, no. But that's like you're stimulating the muscle to actually grow in that intensity. It's going to get very, very strong. But then essentially, when you're in this low rep range, you go back to the higher rep ranges, you're going to be able to lift more. So you're
Okay.
kind of like just stacking muscle and power all at the same time.
Okay, so we have, what was number 1 again?
Or just so many things. We're not eating enough,
Right, yes. Okay,
not
so
enough
what's the
protein,
not enough protein, and then you're saying we're not lifting heavy enough?
we're not lifting heavy enough.
Okay.
And again, like you want to do things safely. Like I'm not telling you to go like do something you're like really not prepared for, right? But there's a system in place that you need to like teach your body how to be good at that intensity. So slowly ramp up to it. In general, I would say in my like a good rule of thumb, if you can do 2 more reps at the end of your last set, you should go heavier.
Okay.
Because again, like say, like you grab your 10 pounds and you're like, ooh, like my program says 2 sets of 10, and you do easily 2 sets of 10, and you could easily do 10 more. That's not enough.
So well, it was funny, I was at the gym with my daughter a couple of weeks ago, and we were doing low rows on the universal machine,
Yeah.
and she put in whatever weight, and I was like, "No, dude." She's like, "What?" I'm like, "No, it needs to go," because she's 23 years old. She's way stronger than I am, and
Totally.
I know I look stronger than her, but I know that she's got it in the tank.
Totally.
And we kept going up, and I can't remember what I put her at. I either put her at 70 or 80 pounds or whatever. She's like, "I can't do that." And then as she's doing
Try.
it, she's arguing with me that she can't do it.
Just try it. Totally.
But I don't know if she grew up with me as a fitness coach. So it wasn't like I just walked into this. Like my whole life, I've been an athlete,
Right.
and we've talked about this. And I don't know where the programming comes from about them, because right now everything's in the ass, right? It's like all the machines at the gym. It's so funny. They shifted to doing like just all I can't remember what machines they are, but they're basically all focused on lower body.
Oh, yeah.
And only women are in that corner of the gym now.
That doesn't surprise me either.
So and it's so weird because it's like, okay, cool. Like I know my butt is supposed to be popping and whatever, but I also want to be able to, I don't know, open a can of soda or pop a lid off a pickle jar. And if I don't have any grip strength because all I'm doing is everything with my legs, that's not working.
100%. What are you all doing to improve your grip strength?
Well, me, I'm just lifting heavy.
Love that. Do you ever do farmer carries?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, good.
So
That's like a
those are
staple.
like
Love it.
weirdly farmer carries
Satisfying.
are weirdly hard. 'Cause you're like, "I'm just walking around carrying these things,"
Mm,
and but the grip strength and I think that was, Peter Attia who started talking about that and bringing it back into the conversation about the whole grip strength thing and just holding on the weight and walking back and forth
totally.
and just feeling that, and I've noticed that things have improved, like, I started feeling a little pump in my forearms and stuff because
Nice.
now lifting heavier and I'm trying to
Totally.
get into that because I do wanna be able to do things and not ask everybody to open stuff for me
Totally.
or whatever it may be.
Well, and the
So
same thought if you're going to the grocery store and you have to carry all your groceries, like it's all so just intertwined in normal life activities that
and there's
people
something default about grocery carrying that we're just so stupid. Like,
I must carry it all in one arm, one time. I'm certainly not going back to the car.
and and I try and I know better. You are capable of walking out to the vehicle and grabbing another load, and
No,
I'm like, "No, I can do this."
absolutely not.
So,
Won't do it.
just we're so stubborn. So, you've been doing this for how long?
I've been at Human Powered Health for it'll be 2 years in September.
Where have you seen like, what is one person that you've watched them change and you're like, "Damn, I'm so glad that I was here to witness that."
It's every single female. Like you just like you get this light bulb moment that you're like, oh my God, that's the issue is like and it like all just kind of all the assessments kind of feed into each other and they all kind of speak the same thing without speaking the same thing. It's just there's nothing better than having a female come in, do her testing, and then come back 6 months or a year later and everything has changed. And you see how happy they are and like it's just awesome.
Is it ever too late?
Never.
Okay, because
Never.
I have a friend of mine who is 10 years post-menopause
Yeah.
and is osteopenia,
Mhm.
and totally freaked out because feels like their bones are just gonna shatter underneath them, and I can tell you they're not. It's clearly just a thing that they're feeling,
100%.
but they feel like it's too late. Like they didn't get the information that somebody like me, since like 2 or 3 years past,
Totally.
got when they were perimenopausal. And I think that's a big question is that there are plenty of women out there, they're like, oh, I'm in my 60s, it's too late.
I would say if anything in your 60s, that's the any day is the right time to start strength training, right? Like, because
Mhm.
it's gonna help your bone. It's gonna either keep it or promote growth, right? But you can still gain independence by getting just a little bit stronger, right? You're gonna be able to walk from the grocery store to your car and feel comfortable carrying groceries. You're gonna be able to walk up the stairs without relying on a handrail, right? Like, it's never too late. Can build muscle.
That's good. So we go into this, right? So you have this community of women that probably follow you around and be like,
God,
come on, get in the pool. The water's fine. So what do you like? What's the next step for them? Like after, because I feel like as humans, we want to have goals. Like, what would be the next step
totally,
after I get myself dialed in? I feel pretty healthy. Like, how do I keep it fresh? How do I keep
totally.
myself moving in the right
Yep.
direction?
So for me, I feel like strength training is kind of like that check-in. Like you can see improvement every day. That's just naturally very empowering, right?
Mhm.
Like when you can go back and look like this time a year ago I could only lift this weight. All of a sudden you're remotivated. Like, oh, I wonder how much I can gain again next year, right? I would really have women focus on a day at a time, but really building that strength and really keep chasing something more.
How many days a week should we be strength training?
Ideally, to that's such a hard question. It depends.
Mhm.
I would say the 60-year-old that has never trained before, once is better than nothing, twice is better than that, 3 times is probably better than that. But you gotta listen to your body. Your body will tell you what's too much, right? And again, like even one set of exercise for that brand new 60-year-old that's never touched a weight before is going to stimulate the muscle, right? So you just got to kind of, again, figure out your baseline and where to go from there.
Okay. So, what other advice would you give somebody who's listening to us and going, "Oh, damn, I guess I should probably start thinking about this."
Good. Less is more. So don't feel like you have to go in for like an hour plus, right? 30 minutes is a really good starting spot. And I would stay total body, do a little bit of everything, right? Because like you'll get into like those bodybuilder types that are like, oh, today's my chest day and today's my lower body day. Like, what human movement is just one or the other, right? So if you're only like starting out 1 day a week or 2 days a week, do everything, do a little bit of everything. Keep things consistent. For probably like 10, 15 years ago, the muscle confusion thing was like this, like, you have to confuse your muscle. You absolutely do not want to confuse your muscle. You want your muscle to learn the stimulus and adapt to it, right? So keep the exercises and the sets and reps very consistent for, again, like 4 to 6 weeks, and then recover, and then pick new ones if you want, or make them a little more complicated, or change the tempo. But again, you're going to keep that consistent for another 4 to 6 weeks.
Do you have a preference over free weights over machines?
If you're stable, always go free weights. I would say like the more free weight, because again, it's just going to resemble what you do in real life. It's carrying the groceries, it's putting them and reaching them, putting them away. So it's just going to make it more realistic, and you're going to be able to see that gain a little bit faster in movements that you do all the time. Now, machines have their time and place. If you're like, for example, like maybe you have a crazy asymmetry and like one leg is much larger than the other one, that's a great time to use a machine and maybe do some single leg work and improve that strength that way. But in general, if you can do a free weight, much better.
Yeah, I use the machines when I don't have time.
Yep,
I'm just gonna go down the line and
totally.
hit all the body
Yep,
parts, and then boom, I'm out.
yep. And
How much cardio should we be doing?
2 to 3 days. Again, 30 minutes is a really good starting spot. And again, like if you've been doing nothing, start small. Do 10 minutes, do 10 minutes twice a day, and then go to 20 minutes. And just lay your foundation, know what you're doing now, and just add baby steps, baby step, baby step. Because, like you said, something is better than nothing. It will
Yeah,
help.
walk those dogs.
Exactly. And like, I don't know why I was thinking about this morning when I was on my bike, but like, even just walking, like if you're uncomfortable leaving your house, walk in your house. You can find a path that you can walk front to back for a couple times. Like, you can do it. Just do what you're comfortable with, but find a way to challenge it.
Is there any validity to the 10,000 steps a day?
It's movement. So, yes, like if you haven't been moving and all of a sudden you start moving a lot more, yes, like you're going to move the body, which is movement is medicine in my mind. Yeah, movement's a good thing.
Okay, that's good. So, this has been great. How do people get in touch with you?
Man, how can't they? Well, our website is a really easy route, but we post a lot of stuff on Instagram and Facebook, lots of videos. We're trying to promote a lot of content of just education and helping people understand. So you can reach out those ways too.
Okay, Human Powered Health, and we'll put all the links in the show notes.
Totally.
Kelly, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you. It was super fun.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Yeah, thanks.